Hey guys, welcome back to Brinker Family Farm. I am actually getting in the kitchen and I'm making a pot pie. I cooked a turkey last week and put in a few extra containers in the freezer with some broth and the extra pieces of turkey. So it's actually gonna be more like a turkey pot pie, but same otherwise. And so I thought I'd just kind of share the process with you, and while I was at it, to show you what's going on around the house today. I got some carrots and onions in here, and I got it in some lard. Woo, steaming. And it's sitting in some lard, and in a few minutes I'm just going to let this cook a little bit longer. Then it's going to get some flour and the rest of the vegetables that I want to add. So while I'm waiting on that to finish cooking down and get a little bit brown to it, I'm going to show you what we've been working on outside today. This is my iris patch. I started it just a few years ago, and I was trying to come through and pick up like all the dead, where you can see right here on the left side where the dead was, and clean up that space. And the girls were having a lot of fun going through the garden that had just got tilled. And the last thing is the hoop house is getting done. It's so close, we'll be able to start planting things before too long. Alright, now I'm adding in the turkey. I'm using the Pioneer Woman's pot pie recipe as like a guide. I kind of have like roundabout ideas of what I need in here, and her recipe calls for 3 cups of chicken. So I'm gonna be adding more than that, and I'm just kind of shredding up the pieces of turkey. That's a mix. There's some breast, and there's like some meat off the thighs and the wings that I just kind of threw in together. I really just like the breast meat the best, and so I have to find ways to use those other pieces of meat. And most of the time, the best way for me to use them is in some sort of casserole. That's usually how I do that, just to kind of use those up, because I don't want to waste these pieces. Anyhow, so today's been a lovely day. Getting to work on the hoop house. I helped grow a little bit with that, and I pulled some weeds in the one corner around the deck. Matthew got some of the grass, so it's looking nice. We're actually having the boys' birthdays this weekend for, well, 2 of the boys, Matthew and Marshall. Marshall turns 1 on Saturday, and Matthew turns 16 at the end of the month. And with Bo's work schedule, we just went ahead and decided we just have them both right here at Marshall's birthday. So just trying to tidy up a few things. Just really trying to get the hoop house done so I can plant in there, and then he can move on to finishing up the chicken coop, because the current chicken coop is actually going to our cousin. They're getting chickens in May, so they're gonna need that before too long. So it'd be nice to have that done. I did sell 6 of our layers and gave a rooster away, because they weren't supposed to have any roosters, and we ended up with 2 of them last year. So the ones that they took are all just at that 1-year mark, just getting ready to turn 1. And we want to get some new ones that lay like the bluish colored eggs, because right now we have a lot of brown eggs. I went ahead and added in the rest of the turkey. I wanted some corn and green beans from the garden last year. I pulled it out of the freezer. And then now I'm adding in the flour, salt, and pepper. The kids started coming in the house, so I went ahead and just decided I was going to finish talking this way through the video. I am at this point getting things ready to roll out the dough. The dough for my pie crust is going to be in my book, The Simple Homestead, and I really like it. It's worked really well for me. I struggled so much and for so long with a pie crust that this one has been working really good, and I probably will not veer too far off of it. Now, it's really thick like that because it's really supposed to be enough for 2 crusts, and I probably should have separated it, but I wanted to make sure I had a long enough piece for the 9x13 pan I was using. I pre-made the pie crust before I started on the filling, and so it's been in the fridge, and so it's a little bit harder to roll out. I got it rolled out to the thickness I wanted and then laid it over top of the pan. I wanted to make sure I worked kind of quickly because the filling was warm. So I cut around the edge where I thought it was just gonna be like hanging way too much after the crimping phase, and got all the way around to make sure that was gonna be an appropriate length. As soon as I was finished with the trimming, I went ahead and started crimping. That was another thing. I went to my grandma's and done pies for Thanksgiving for a few years with her and tried so very hard to get it, and I just could not get it. And finally, one day it clicked, and I'm like, it's still not the prettiest crimping, but I'm getting there and grateful for the memories of making pies with my grandma and trying to learn how to do this process. I made sure after I was done crimping, I put holes in it just to make sure it could vent and it wouldn't like blow up. After I put the pot pie into the oven, I had this extra part of a pie crust. It was probably about enough for almost a full pie, but we like to add some butter and cinnamon sugar over top of it. And the reason I started doing this once I got my pie crust going is I remember going over to a relative's house and she was making pies with her daughters, which were they were grown adults, but still, they were making pies together, and that's what they did with their extra pie crust. And so every time I have extra pie crust, I think of that lady because she's since passed, and going over there and seeing them working on pies and making these little treats with the extra pie crust. And then after that, all you have to do is put in the oven and bake for about 15-20 minutes until it's golden. Now look at our yummy dinner. Isn't it wonderful? It turned out so great, and Bo added some garlic powder at the end on top of the crust. All right, guys, well, that's going to end it for today. We kind of made some food and we all were working on some stuff outside. And now we're getting everybody situated for bed. But I want to show you, he's got the door up and he's got the windows on this side and the plastic sheeting. He's got that all up, and that'll be the same thing on the other end. He's going to do that as well, hopefully the next weekend or two when he gets some time. But real soon I'll be able to start putting plants out here, and I'm excited to be able to start growing. The boxes you see in the back are actually for our chicks that we'll be getting in the next few weeks. They're just sitting in there for the time being. We're kind of thinking about on that end of the hoop house, leaving a spot to leave the chicks out there just so they're a little bit more protected from the dogs and other things. But we'll see how this goes, and we'll keep you up to date in the next few weeks. All right, guys. Well, until next time, grow something beautiful. Bye now.